This drink is being raised in the sky for the releases of Aleister Black, Braun Strowman, Buddy Murphy, and everybody else.
Pour one out for our fallen homies right now, but like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, raise a glass in the sky and salute the ring generals.
I'm raising the glass. I don't hear Vince selling yet. But whatever, I'll take a sip. Welcome, everybody, to the Ring Generals podcast. My name is Nick Nenad, and alongside me today is the RKJ Man.
Let's talk, y'all. Hypocritical Nick. Man, what in the world is going on in the world of professional wrestling yet again?
I mean, we talked about this stuff last week on a much more minor scale. Now, we had specific guys to talk about with Velveteen Dream and that referee, I can't remember his name, that they were released. And at least when those guys were released, it was expected, right? Like we expected Velveteen Dream to be released for a while. Once we heard the rumors about the referee, Drake Wirtz, we expected him to get released. Then today, or even next week, we're planning a big podcast where we're going to talk about AEW Double or Nothing, that big pay-per-view. We were going to talk about Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather, whatever happened during that fight. We're going to talk about UFC 263. Nate Diaz, Israel Adesanya, 2 title fights. Great card, right? But instead, RKJ Man and I are jumping on here on a Wednesday night to talk about more WWE releases, and not just anybody getting released. Braun Strowman getting released, Aleister Black getting released, Lana getting released, Buddy Murphy, and plenty of others today. Another shocking day in pro wrestling. RKJ Man, I at least heard that this was going to happen today. I never expected that it was going to be someone like Strowman, who has been fighting for world championships, who fought Vince's son at WrestleMania, was in a title match, I believe, at Backlash, the last WWE pay-per-view. Aleister Black was in a program with Big E. Lana, one of the more famous female talents in WWE. Buddy Murphy, I kind of not deserved it, but that's a little bit more expected, but unfortunate because that guy's gonna kill it outside WWE. RKJ Man, I mean, your first thoughts. We are going to talk, first of all, about Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather. We are going to talk about AEW Double or Nothing, but we wanted to talk about this first, start off this podcast. And the reason I'm drinking is only because of this topic, because it pissed me off this morning to see these guys get released. But I have a little more positive spin. So RKJ Man, you start this podcast off talking about these releases.
First of all, if you're drinking with us right now, I want you to take your drink and pour.
I'll take one too.
Okay, pour it out a little bit, for our homies who have fallen for that stupid WWE bullshit. Yeah. Now, here's my situation. Here's the thing, okay? I'm just going to say this right now, okay? Braun Strowman is the millennial Big Show. I'm going to stand behind what I've said now on this podcast. If you're just joining us, all right, like, comment, and subscribe. Please go back in our archives, and guess what? You will hear me saying this way back in the day when we were in that studio all cramped up. Braun Strowman is the millennial Big Show. So when a person like Nick Khan, who has no affiliation with the WWE in years past, who does not give a shit about all these other things that us wrestling fans cares about, guess what he cares about? That money. And he looks at the contract and he looks at the status. He looks at the budgets and he sees a Braun Strowman who is not a good wrestler. He's asking, hey, is he a good wrestler? Not really. Does he make a lot of money for the company? He used to, not anymore. Okay. All right. So what does he do? Oh, well, he's just known for fucking shit up. Now Nick Khan is saying in the back of his mind, okay, so I've got a guy who's making all this money, $1 million, a guy who's known for fucking shit up, which is going to cost us even more money. And he's not being really used like that? Why am I keeping him? I'm going to go ahead and cut him. That's what I think is going on. Like, Nick Khan is the main person here. And like I told you beforehand, I have a new person now who's going to be leading the WWE, who I think is the successor to Vince McMahon. And no, it's not Triple H. No, it's not Stephanie. It's not even Shane McMahon or Bruce Pritchard or whoever else you got out of your ass. Guess what it is? It's Nick Khan.
RKJ, I'm going to stop you right there because I don't need my entire night ruined to start this podcast. I actually somewhat agree with you. And just prior to our talks before the podcast and just doing my research before the podcast this morning, I think you're right. I think he's the guy behind all these random releases. And I think that he is going to potentially be the guy that takes over because, right, it seems too, like, sure that Triple H is going to be the guy, right? Oh, Shane and Stephanie, that's the succession, right? That makes sense. Linda, she's in politics. She could do it, right? She could run a multi-billion-dollar company. But realistically, it's this guy, right? It's this guy. And, in some points, I think that there's nothing wrong with cutting your talent when you have too many people. And like the UFC's doing it right now. They're cutting some of their old timers that don't really produce views anymore. Like they cut Anderson Silva, they cut plenty of others off their roster, Diego Sanchez, all these guys, whether it was because of injuries or because of just lack of wins, Junior Dos Santos, right? And everyone kind of doesn't bat an eye. They go Tyron Woodley, who's going to be fighting Jake Paul. But, there's some older guys that you're releasing because you don't really have use for them. The weird thing about this one was they used Braun Strowman a lot. They were starting to use Aleister Black. I can't imagine Aleister Black and Braun Strowman were both getting paid that much, right? Lana maybe because she's been with the company for a while and she has a following. And she also did some stuff that kind of pissed off the WWE earlier this year.
Let me stop you right there.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Strowman, according to reports, I believe it was from Fightful, was making over $1 million per year.
Well, that's fucking bullshit.
He renegotiated. It is bullshit because, but he got in while the getting was good. He got in when he was at the most highest that he could ever be in right now. So they just barely got it in for his renegotiation. So he got a great deal. So when Nick Khan comes in, and we'll talk about this in just a moment, I guess, because I'm now hearing rumors WWE might get sold. I'm hearing those big time rumors too again. So we gotta
raise the glass to that.
I gotta talk a little bit about that. Hey, I want to say this though to wrestling fans. You guys all might be saying, well, the WWE is about to get sold, so we don't have to deal with Vince. You might be careful what you wish for, because if it goes to a corporation like a Disney or whatever else, and Nick Khan is still involved, you might see WWE even get worse.
Jesus Christ, man. How is that even possible? How's that possible?
When corporate America's involved, anything is possible.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. But
the former head of CA, and let's not also forget, we didn't talk about this too not too long ago, but there was a lot of digital talents that got released, and it was reported that Nick Khan was behind that. Nick Khan has been leading a lot of major things. Now he did one bad thing. He hired Adnan Virk. That was a really bad decision. But guess what? They got rid of that decision quickly. They got rid of Virk fast in a hurry. But the fact of the matter remains is this: Nick Khan has more power in professional wrestling than what we think. Oh, and by the way, for all you New Japan fans out there, WWE and New Japan Pro Wrestling might be rolling together exclusively very soon. And trust me, I saw Twitter go crazy. I saw a Twitter meltdown with those New Japan people. Those New Japan Pro Wrestling fans went crazy when I saw that.
Well, and I heard that was based around Daniel Bryan, which makes sense. Because Daniel Bryan versus anybody from New Japan, just fucking take my money. Take my money. Although I've never paid for a New Japan show before, but because I just stream it. Like you just go to the website and you stream it. Like it's not a big deal. Maybe I'm illegally doing it and Dana White's gonna get me or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, dude, like so much is going on with WWE right now. And I actually like the New Japan thing. I have no problem with Okada wrestling Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns. I have no problem with Tanahashi wrestling Cesaro or someone like that. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem with plenty of their other wrestlers. Will Ospreay, as controversial as he is, coming over to WWE and wrestling Randy Orton. They had a Twitter interaction a year ago. But then you hear this bullshit about these releases, and you hear the digital content releases, and you're just like, what are you doing? You're releasing Braun Strowman. I get it. His contract's big. But you're actually using him. Like, you know who you're not using? RKJ Man, you know who you're not using? Brock Lesnar. Maybe he's not under contract, but if they're paying him, so okay, bad example. You know who is under contract? Goldberg.
Wait a minute, he's still under contract?
Until 2022.
God.
So they won't release him. They won't release him, but they're going to release Braun Strowman, who at least some people like. Nobody fucking likes Goldberg.
So really quickly, okay, we're spending a lot of time on Braun Strowman because he's the biggest name by
That's a good point. Yeah, we should move on. You're right.
On this list, but I will say this about Braun Strowman. I've seen some people, because we were talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling. I saw some people make, some people say that he could go to New Japan.
Yeah, I saw this right.
I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys are in 2021 or 1989, because this is not the 1980s where those big time wrestlers like Big Van Vader and Hulk Hogan and so many other big wrestlers could go over to Japan and just do whatever they want to. And they were big stars over there. This is 2021. Size doesn't matter anymore, unfortunately. So we're in a situation where the Will Ospreays of the world, the Kenny Omegas of the world, the Ricochets of the world, the Daniel Bryans of the world, and so many other wrestlers who have been in New Japan Pro Wrestling are better draws and better sales than Braun Strowman. So in my opinion, Braun Strowman shouldn't step foot in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He doesn't have the wrestling ability, honestly, to make it in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He will get out-wrestled within a day in that dojo in Japan. And on top of that, I don't see a lot of big-time wrestlers, like wrestlers who are like 7 feet tall in Japan. I don't see it in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Maybe
I'll say,
watch it consistently, but I don't see it.
I'll say this: Lance Archer came from New Japan, obviously, and he's worked out somewhat. Although his character is kind of, especially after Double or Nothing, fuck man, like that wasn't good at Double or Nothing. We'll get to that later. But so I'll just pose this question to you: where does he go? Where does Braun Strowman go? I mean, because he's not going to go to MMA, or he's not going to, he's a professional wrestler now. At least he knows the basics. So where does he go? Does AEW fit? Does Impact Wrestling fit? Okay, so there you go. So why Impact over New Japan and AEW?
Because AEW is more about the work rate. It's not about how tall you are or whatnot. But you look at Impact Wrestling, that's perfect for former big man or big time wrestlers. Let's look at Big Cass or William Morrissey now. He's in Impact Wrestling. And there's been other talent that have moved over to Impact Wrestling. I think if you want to go back in the day to Kevin Nash and them, they went to Impact Wrestling. So if you want to go to a big time superstar who maybe is not known for the wrestling, but you can insert them instantly into the main event scene, guess what? Put them on Impact. But like I've been saying on multiple podcasts, because of the relationship Impact Wrestling has and AEW has, if you go to AEW, doesn't mean you're not going to show up on Impact. If you go to Impact, it does not mean you're not going to show up on AEW. So him going to Impact Wrestling doesn't disqualify him from going to AEW, but I just don't think that he is a fit in AEW with Tony Khan's system.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't see Braun Strowman working out, although AEW has a tendency to make everybody kind of work out because of the way they book story. Like, I mean, they may mess up their top stuff because they go over the top, but like
Matt Hardy doing? How's Matt Hardy doing?
Well, Matt Hardy's putting over talent. Like, he put over Jungle Boy in the Battle Royal. He had his thing with Christian, which everybody wanted because they used to do their stuff in WWE.
Ever Christian Cage doing? I'm sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah, I know, and we have that little bit of rivalry that you didn't like the Christian Cage signing, and I do. And Christian Cage
did it.
He put over Jungle Boy. Matt Hardy put over Jungle Boy. Matt Hardy's helping out Private Party. That's the future of the business. I mean, you look at that's 2-3 of the youngest people in professional wrestling.
Okay.
How do you argue with that, right? That's our philosophy, right?
Well, if you're going to sign them for big time money to your company, you got to use them in an incredible way. I get it, but good Lord, like, why are we not wasting? Why are we not putting in? That's money that can be used in some of these free agent talent classes coming up very, very soon. Because these free agents that are coming out right now are phenomenal. And you're telling me you're putting that money into Matt Hardy and Christian Cage?
I don't know how much money.
And Big Show? Yes, we didn't even talk about it. Mark Henry, come on, Mark Henry, seriously?
Jesus. There's so much to talk about in this fucking podcast, bro. There's so much to talk about. No, I agree with you. I mean, I think you gotta remember who has who's you're dealing with here, though. The Shad Khan and Tony Khan. They're richer than Vince. They can throw around $1 million contracts and it's not a big deal. Like Braun Strowman's like, hey,
on the real though, are all the Khan people related?
I don't think so. Okay. I mean, I can look that up right now if you have something to say, so we don't have dead air.
Yeah, but I don't know. But I don't know if they're all related. But the fact that they all have the last name and they're the most important people in the wrestling business is kind of sus to me. So I don't know. I don't think they're related. Probably not related.
I don't think so either. You'd think that guy wouldn't go to WWE. He'd just work for AEW, right?
Or maybe he's trying to.
I work at a place where there's
WWE from within. What if Tony Khan and them sent them to destroy WWE from within, and this is how he's doing it, so they can get all the good wrestlers?
Good point. Although I will say Khan is a very, very popular name in the Arab countries. It's like Smith or Jones here in the United States. So, oh, there goes my light. Hold on, let me.
Holy shit!
Let me turn this back on, bro. Hold on. Look at that.
No.
I said there's my light. Okay. Live air. Okay, let's get to Aleister Black. Aleister Black was the second biggest name on this thing. We can talk about Lana, we can talk about Murphy, Santana Garrett, everybody else, right?
Ruby Riott too.
I like her
a lot. She's a good wrestler.
Yeah. So Aleister Black, he's gonna just dominate pro wrestling, right? Now, Tommy End, probably we know as now, but like I see just I raise a glass in the sky and salute to Aleister fucking Black. Yeah. And I wish Eric was on the podcast today. Yeah. And he was just was unable to do it. And we need to get out today. But I cannot wait to get his thoughts. I think he's going to be a happy man. This is great. This is a great thing.
Yeah. Let me just say this. We were at WrestleMania a few years ago and Aleister Black's music came on.
Oh, yeah.
Eric was chanting. It was like he had some type of ritual going on. He told me to shut up, and he's just like, just shut up and let me listen to this music. I don't know what was going on, but
I will say this, though. Aleister Black's entrance music in MetLife Stadium was one of the better sounding entrances there. Like that opening guitar riff of his song in a stadium is sick. Now, that won't be his theme song anymore, but the way he is as a person outside of pro wrestling, he'll have some metal, and that gets me going just as much as Eric. Maybe not as much. Not as much.
Having a ritual.
He had a whole fucking show. He had a whole show he did that it was based on death metal on the radio. But nonetheless, I at least see myself as the second death metal guy in the Ring Generals podcast.
I'm definitely the last, and will forever be the last in this podcast. But look, man, speaking of Aleister Black's theme song music, he said on his Twitch stream today with his wife, Thea Trinidad, that he actually had new theme song music that he said was better than this one, and it'll never be released. Probably will. They'll probably give it to someone else.
It should.
But, it's a situation with Aleister Black. I wondered this. So about a year or 2 years ago when the WWE moved to Fox, when SmackDown moved to Fox, there was a rumor going around that the reason why WWE wasn't using him on Fox and SmackDown was because of his satanic I remember that, yeah. And some of the things that they were doing, and they were concerned that would make people uncomfortable. He was out for a very long time. Now, Eric Bischoff came out and said that was bullshit. He said that was not true. But he was out for a very long time throughout this whole situation, and it makes me wonder if that had some validity to it. Because he mentioned this stream today how he talked to Vince about certain things, certain ideas, how his most recent character was about what if the devil came back to Earth and did horrible things and couldn't remember it and stuff like that. And you hear it and you say to yourself, okay, well, a lot of the country is very, very Christian, conservative. It's already kind of a stretch, even liking The Undertaker. Like, even me watching The Undertaker is kind of like, I'm looking over my left shoulder to see if my dad's going to yell at me. And he doesn't, because he understands The Undertaker. But if he sees Aleister Black or The Fiend, he's like, okay, well, turn this off. Okay. So, it's a situation where I start to wonder if maybe that played an impact. And the reason why Aleister Black wasn't pushed further was because of the satanic imagery and because of his maybe they were afraid, because they did get a lot of pushback when when the Fiend debuted from a lot of these Christian conservative councils and parent councils and stuff like that they were promoting satanic culture and they were worshiping the devil and all this other stuff. So maybe they were trying to avoid having that type of controversy by keeping Aleister Black on the back burner more.
Okay, here's the thing. All right, it's fucking fake. Okay, you don't watch Handmaid's Tale and you think it's real, and you don't talk shit about the director and the producer for putting on a show like that. You don't talk about these shows that talk about horrible things like murder and all this stuff and Jeffrey Epstein, and you don't blame the director and producer for making that documentary and saying you're promoting bad stuff. No, it's content, it's entertainment, it's or you're telling a story, right? So for pro wrestling fans, and to be honest, RKJ Man, it's probably not pro wrestling fans complaining, which shouldn't matter in the first place. And this happens in sports too. You have all the fucking people that don't watch the NBA complaining about people kneeling, or the people that don't watch the NFL complaining about people kneeling, or the people that don't watch MLB complaining about the laws in Atlanta and all that stuff. And so there's just a lot, like, this happens all the time, right? And it happens in pro wrestling a lot too. And so it's pretty dumb if WWE is listening to those people, because those people aren't your audience, and those people are like a few thousand on Twitter when there's 300 million people in the United States and millions and billions overall in other countries that may love Aleister Black, right? So, people got to look at this and understand it's a character and it's not real, and Aleister Black doesn't actually sit there and worship the devil, we hope, right? And so he
does, which even I was like, when I heard he did that, I was like, oh no.
Be quiet. It doesn't help my argument. It doesn't help my argument. But yeah, so I hope that's not it. But if it is, WWE made a huge mistake, and they're gonna lose one of the best professional wrestlers in the world, and Aleister Black will flourish wherever he goes. New Japan, Impact, Ring of Honor, or AEW. I think he'll absolutely kill it.
I will say this with Aleister Black, and my whole theory that maybe he didn't get as big of a push because of the satanic stuff. Shawn Michaels, who's a huge born-again Christian, worked really hard with Aleister Black down at NXT. And what I'm saying, Shawn Michaels is as Christian as they come now. So when it comes down to Shawn Michaels, he was able to realize, hey, I got to be professional. He has a great character here. It's pro wrestling. He's worked with The Undertaker, post becoming a Christian, and several other wrestlers who have kind of had mythical dark characters too throughout his career. So, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, he was able to put his feelings aside because he knows this is for the business, and Aleister Black is a major talent. So I will say that. Maybe I can tell that to my dad next time he complains.
Exactly. Yeah.
But here's another thing. I wonder if the reason why he's being released and all these things, and why he was off of television, barely able to come back for a long time, is because of the Tia Trinidad situation, the Selena Vega situation with his wife. Maybe it was a situation where they were holding back on him a little bit. And maybe, because I heard rumors that apparently Selena Vega was showed back up at the PC and was doing stuff. So then all of a sudden, Aleister Black is back on television, which I thought was very ironic, that Aleister Black is back on television when his wife allegedly is back in the WWE at the Performance Center filming stuff. And then all of a sudden, he's fired. And guess what? She's not at the Performance Center anymore. I'm not saying she's a gold digger, but I'm just saying.
It sounds like that's what you're saying. But I just had thoughts, man. Like Thea Trinidad, Selena Vega, whatever you want to call her, obviously she was with Andrade in storyline. She's with Aleister Black, Tommy End, in real life. I mean, we forget that Andrade is still a free agent too. Like, if somehow maybe those two could get together and go to the same company, I mean, you're getting two of the best professional wrestlers in the world. Whoever gets those guys, and Selena as well. Like, that package, that package of three is, I mean, RKJ, I don't know, maybe the best in professional wrestling right now. Like, as far as, like, free agents go, people, like, obviously free agents, but I mean, like, besides Roman Reigns and the Usos, like, and a couple other people, and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, like, you're getting a solid or a triplet of people there. So I hope all the best for all of them. Zelina Vega, Andrade, Aleister Black. We obviously did not see Andrade at Double or Nothing. I'm not disappointing, right? I don't even know if his 30 days was up or whatever. But, we'll see him in the future, and hopefully he ends up in AEW or New Japan. One of the two.
Quickly,
yeah.
Before these idiots on Twitter and social media try to take this in a few years and take it bad. When I mean the Kanye West Gold Digger thing, I meant the WWE. I didn't mean Zelina Vega or Tia Trinidad. I meant WWE. Just pointing that out there.
You're all good. Yeah, I don't think she was making that much money with WWE anyway, so it's fine.
On Twitch, she should just stay on Twitch and do an exclusive deal on Twitch.
Well, and that's why, like, people, like, I don't mind Lana getting released because I'm like, Lana's gonna make money. Like, Lana, there's no problem.
So much money, y'all. Like, she doesn't need to be a professional wrestler anymore.
She doesn't, and her husband probably got a raise with AEW as well. Like, they're fine. Buddy Murphy, I hope, ends up getting with, again, one of these. Buddy Murphy, Aleister Black, Andrade, like, these guys are some of the best pro wrestlers in the world, and WWE just gave up on them. It's crazy.
Nick, imagine this for Impact.
Yeah.
Buddy Murphy versus Trey Miguel. Imagine that match. How much of a banger that would be.
Bro, Buddy take my money.
Versus Trey Miguel versus Ace Austin in a triple threat matchup. You could put a few other people. What is that? A little thing where they hang up for the X?
The X division. Yeah.
I don't know, man. But like, you could do that, and I'm telling you, that's gonna be a banger. I mean, if AEW does not sign Buddy Murphy, then he's got to go to Impact and be in that X division.
Oh yeah.
That X division and Impact Wrestling, not too many people talk about it because, let's be honest, Impact Wrestling is irrelevant now in 20.
They need fans. They need fucking fans.
They don't have any fans or whatnot, and they're a Canadian-based company. But let's be quite frank and quite honest. If Buddy Murphy was to go there and be in that X division, which is phenomenal, it is great television to watch Impact Wrestling with those X division wrestlers, it would be bangers all night long. You could honestly create your own show that would be better than 205 Live with the X division.
I agree. It'd be amazing. So we look at the other, but again, like, Buddy Murphy is gonna.
Oh, by the way,
he's gonna flourish. He's gonna flourish.
By the way, we've seen Buddy Murphy in person before, Nick. That boy is stacked.
Stacked. Bro.
Why was he not like? He didn't look. I told Nick, I was like, he ain't 205 Live. He's 235 Live. Like,
he's
boy,
heavyweight live.
Huge. How is he not in the main event?
No, again, that's it. You got the look. Oh, I just can't wait till he's somewhere.
And
again, raise a glass to Murphy getting released, bro. Raise a glass
to Murphy and Andrade eating those doubles.
That's true. Yeah, we saw them in and out. What a weird. Now they're both free. We're talking about our podcast, bro. Jesus. So Ruby Riott, Santana Garrett obviously released too. Santana Garrett really didn't do much in WWE, so we're not going to talk about her. Ruby Riott, I think, would help out the women's division at AEW, right? They finally gave the title to Britt Baker in AEW, which was a good decision because Britt Baker is the most popular female on that show. But I think Ruby Riott, she, like you said earlier, she's a good wrestler. Like, she may not be Trish Stratus, or she may not be like, Sasha Banks or Charlotte or Bayley, but she's a good professional wrestler. Like, so, I see her. Hopefully she ends up somewhere good again. Hopefully she doesn't quit professional wrestling or anything. But again, Ruby Riott, underutilized, could have been a champion in WWE, but they ruined her too.
I mean, and also I've seen this too as well. I mean, they've broken up the tag team divisions for the women. Like, it's completely destroyed. So I at this point in the game, like, what are you going to do with that tag team division? Like, and I'm going to be honest with you, the way the WWE is going right now, I would not be surprised if we actually see a champion get released and they just heard a tournament for the champion. I would not be surprised. I wouldn't put it past Nick Khan. He's not a traditionalist. He just cares about the money. So I'm telling you right now, y'all are always, and rightfully so, we've criticized Vince McMahon and said, oh, this and this and this, and we've complained. But y'all better be watching out, because there's a new heel in professional wrestling, and it's not Vince McMahon, it's Nick Khan. And y'all don't know it, but it's coming very soon. And, you know, when one of the things real quickly, because I know we got to move on, but when it comes to these wrestlers getting released, that's why I always said, and this is what I've been saying for a long time, these wrestlers got to get off of Twitch and all these other places when they're not being used, and they need to start creating so many ideas. Yeah. At least if you create ideas and they're getting shot down, at least it's a situation where you know you did it. But if there's a lot of wrestlers back there who are sitting in catering, like Ricochet. Like, I really like Ricochet. He's been looking like a dumbass on Twitter lately, doing that whole thing with Io Shirai. I don't know what he was doing there, but I liked Ricochet when he was in Lucha Underground. New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's going to the WWE. He hasn't done anything. Now he's okay with being on like the fourth biggest show in like main event. Like, he's okay with that and running that. Mustafa Ali, I'm gonna look you out. If you're watching right now, brother, you're next. I'm sorry. Like, you haven't done anything, and you've been doing these great matches with Ricochet on main event that 5 people have been watching. So the fact of the matter remains is this: if these wrestlers cannot get off their ass and be creative and push and knock on Vince McMahon's door, then guess what's going to happen? A guy who doesn't care, who has no affiliation with them, who's just looking at the money, Nick Khan, if the WWE is selling, they're going to try to maximize their profits. They're going to try to maximize their investments. Guess what? He's going to look at the roster and he's going to say, oh, this person's making too much money and we're not utilizing them in the top row. Cut them. It's going to happen. So that's why these wrestlers have got to start getting creative. At least with a wrestler like Chelsea Green, at least she had all these ideas just logged up. So that was a situation where she denies it. She's like, hey, man, that's on you. But if you have no idea what you're doing, if you're not knocking on the door to Vince, if you're not challenging creative like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock did back in the day, guess what? If you get released, that's kind of on you too as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that. Maybe some of these guys want to be released, right? Like the way we're talking about it too. We see this as happy for some people, negative for others. Like, you know, maybe they want to do everything they can to be released. Like, look at Jon Moxley. Like, he just was like, he wanted to be released so bad from WWE that he kind of just waited out at the end of his contract. You know, so we'll see. I mean, WWE, they got below a 1.5 for Raw.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was Memorial Day, but let's be honest here. They've been getting in the ones for years now. Now, will we get a bump now? I'm going to be honest with you. There is going to be a bump up once fans come back. When fans come back on July 16th, when we get that first Raw or SmackDown, wherever it's going to be at, in the Texas area, I believe it's going to be Dallas, wherever it's going to be, I forgot. But when we get that first WWE live show with fans, there's going to be a significant bump, and it's going to happen. But if the product is shit, which it will be because they're running out of talent, actually, guess what? There's people now, apparently I'm hearing that they can't even fill out their Raws or their Raw shows. They're having a hard time finding people, yet they're releasing people. I don't know what's going on. It makes no sense. But guess what? When the fans come back and they see that the shows suck, then guess what? They're going to be like, this is shit. And we're going to go back to the same old thing pre-pandemic.
You're going to get 6,000 people in the arena. They're going to have to move them all over the TV side, right?
Or cutouts.
Yeah, fuck. It just sucks. All right, let's move on. AEW Double or Nothing. We'll stick with wrestling, and then we'll get to Excuse me.
Hold
back! Sorry, I'm feeling a little bit from the vaccine. Sorry.
Don't say that, Nick. The anti-vaxxers are out there.
Whatever. It's the same people that are complaining about Aleister Black.
QAnon, Drake Warts. Allegedly.
So Double or Nothing. RKJ Man, you said you did not watch it live.
No.
You did not watch it live. And you stated on the podcast too last week that you probably weren't going to watch it. So you said you watched highlights, you found out what happened. What are your thoughts? I'll go more in depth on it. What are your thoughts on Double or Nothing? Just kind of hearing what happened. Knowing what certain things, like just give me your thoughts on Double or Nothing, being someone that didn't actually watch the entire thing.
My God, a live crowd makes all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I have forgotten. I have forgotten how good a stadium feels for a wrestling.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Live crowd, a full crowd, compact. It was a beautiful sight to watch. There's something about Daly's Place and just the skyline and something in that Florida area. It's just a beautiful amphitheater. Like, it's beautiful. Maybe if they do a Super Bowl there and AEW does a show there, maybe we can go there. But I mean, it's just a beautiful location. Overall, solid wrestling show. Number one thoughts: Hangman Page is fucking over, y'all. Hangman Page is getting ready to win this championship at All Out. I agree with everybody else who said it. They're waiting for fans. They've been waiting for fans, and guess what? Hangman Page is going to win that championship from Kenny Omega in September. Another big thing. Speaking of which, since we're talking about All Out, I'm surprised that they not only announced All Out, they announced Full Gear too in November.
Yeah, shit, man.
Super confident that the pandemic is over now. So that's something that's cool. Let's see. They're Jungle Boy winning. Jungle Boy is somebody who I've been kind of high on for a long time. It looks like it's been a stop, start. Same way I feel a little bit sometimes with Darby Allin, but they went all in on him, so to speak. Pun intended. With Jungle Boy, and he's winning the championship, or he might win the championship. He's going to face Kenny Omega sometime in the future. He has that opportunity. But man, I've heard this a lot, and I agree with people. Cody Rhodes needs to turn heel, or maybe he needs to go away for a while once his kid is born, or something like that. But I'm going to be honest with you, Cody Rhodes is starting to get on Triple H level circa 2005 for me, where he's kind of getting annoying to honestly watch. He did not get a big crowd reaction from what I heard from the fans and from people who were there. His matchup against Anthony Ogogo might have been the worst matchup of the night. And I don't think it was necessarily Anthony Ogogo's fault. I think it was a situation where Cody maybe didn't lead the match. Maybe they didn't have good chemistry. I'm not sure. But I don't know. Is it you or me, or does it seem like Cody Rhodes is losing steam lately?
Yeah. And maybe he's doing that intentionally because he knows he's going off TV when it comes. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was the worst match of the night. I didn't see Adam Page versus Brian Cage because I just started watching the pay-per-view 20 minutes in, unfortunately. But it's not like Adam Page and Brian Cage was the worst match on the card. I think the only thing that would rival it maybe is Miro and Lance Archer. It was less than 10 minutes, and it was way underwhelming for what those two guys can do, right? No, Cody Rhodes, yeah, he does seem like he's losing steam a little bit, but again, I think he just doesn't care because he knows he probably is going off TV for a little bit, right? He's making that the Big Show whatever, or the Go Big Show money right on the side, right? He's making EVP money on the side, bro. So maybe he doesn't care as much.
Maybe not for long with those rumors going around. I'm a believer in those rumors, by the way, that they're all not getting along. There's some issues going on where there's small. Look. He
said they weren't true. He said they weren't true, and the Young Bucks.
Just because he's saying that they weren't true, that doesn't mean that they're not true. Let's be honest here. Now, I mean, me and you, we do a podcast. We're all friends and whatnot, but have there been times where me and you have gotten into it on certain things with the podcast? Absolutely. But we still talk to each other and we're still cool with each other. So what has happened between these guys to where it sometimes seems like we're watching 2, 3, 4 different shows all at once, and it's not connecting. That's my main concern with Cody Rhodes. But it is what it is. Maybe he's going to turn heel eventually, and maybe he's going to go away eventually. I don't know. Overall, though, Double or Nothing was a phenomenal show. The main event was really good. Oh, shout outs to Sting and Darby Allin. Yep. Sting looked phenomenal for a 62-year-old man. He looked great. And, overall, it was solid show. Was it the best AEW show? No, that would be the first ever Double or Nothing. That was phenomenal. But overall, it was a solid show. And shout outs to Britt Baker for finally winning the championship. Should happened a long time, y'all.
No, I mean, it was a good show. Was it their best show? No. But that doesn't mean anything. Like, it's hard when you have a show like Double or Nothing or All Out Dynamite, because it was just matches and it was people excited to go to a show that wasn't WWE, right? So, I did watch this pay-per-view, like I said, after Adam Page and Brian Cage. The Young Bucks versus Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley was amazing, right? Yeah. You get the right winners. Jungle Boy winning is the right thing to do. You want to probably be your young talent. Will he beat Kenny Omega? Fuck no, he won't. But whatever. He's 21 or whatever. Like, how old is he? Let me check real quick.
He's like 22 or 23.
23. He's younger than me. Oof. Right? So,
Things I was when I was 23. Let's not talk about it.
Yeah, you have Britt Baker winning the title for the first time ever. Amazing, right? Deserved. Darby Allin and Sting wrestling, looking great. My goodness, Kenny Omega, Orange Cassidy, and Pac. What a match. 27 minutes. Orange Cassidy almost winning the match, getting pinned at the last second. And then Stadium Stampede. I was a little more down on Stadium Stampede than most people. I thought that it was a little... it was a little over the top, and it lasted a little longer than it needed to be. And I'm kind of done with the Stadium Stampede stuff. Like, I don't need to see that again, right? Like, that's the last time I want to see it. But throwing Urban Meyer in there and the Jaguars and all that stuff was cool. And having Sammy Guevara win the match when he was the guy originally that had kind of screwed over the group, that was good. But I thought
there, so he could have gotten hurt.
Yeah,
waste of space, that waste of a roster spot. I wish somebody would have destroyed him. That's what I wish. He should have been thrown off that, whatever that was, exactly. Blood and Guts. He should have been thrown off that thing.
No, but it was a good pay-per-view. Was there downs? Yes. Cody Rhodes and Anthony Ogogo, disappointed. It was in a bad spot in the card too.
Anthony Ogogo too. That dude looks like a monster. That dude looks like a monster.
Well, it's just like, here's why I don't want to see in a match like that. I don't want to see Cody Rhodes' punches look the same as Anthony Ogogo's, because Anthony Ogogo's is a Olympic boxer. Cody Rhodes is a professional wrestler. Those guys don't punch as hard. Professional wrestlers don't punch as hard as Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury. Okay, Tyson Fury, if he throws a punch, you're done, right? So the problem with that match is they made Cody Rhodes look too good, and that's not realistic, because you needed to do the way that story needed to work for that match was that the boxer did his boxing stuff and the pro wrestler did his pro wrestler stuff. And the pro wrestling stuff ended up being the way that Cody Rhodes won. Or the boxing stuff was the way that Anthony Ogogo won. What they did instead was they kind of had a fucking pro wrestling match. And that's not the way you can do it. I don't care if he's practicing in the Nightmare Factory. We all know he's a boxer. And we all know Cody's a fake wrestler. Right? And I'm not shitting on professional wrestling. We all know, like I said with Aleister Black, like, it's not real. It's storylines. Do they take bumps? Yes. But Cody Rhodes is not hitting Anthony Ogogo with a boxing punch. Anthony Ogogo is hitting Cody Rhodes with a boxing punch. So I thought that was wrong. And Hero and Lance Archer, I thought was a little bit disappointing for the hype and those two guys. Like, come on, fucking under 10 minutes.
I'm going to be honest with you, Miro's been a disappointment for me in AEW.
I agree with that. And Lance Archer a little bit too.
Yeah, Lance Archer came in with this big thing. And guess who he faced? Cody Rhodes. And guess what happened after he lost to Cody Rhodes? He lost his steam. I'm not saying Cody Rhodes is the next Triple H, but it's starting to look like he's becoming the next Triple H of AEW. And I think that's the reason why the fans are kind of turning on him a little bit. He thinks he's a babyface, but he's not really a babyface. He's a super heel.
Yeah, no, and it's, we can't wait for him to turn. Hopefully he turns after his kid's born, but whatever. So when we look at the main event, Kenny Omega, Orange Cassidy, Pac. The Stadium Stampede's different because that was a storyline, but the actual main event of the show is the title match, right? Excuse me.
Kobe!
So they made everybody look good in this match. RKJ, what are your thoughts? Where do they go with Kenny Omega? You already kind of gave away a little bit that you think Hangman Page is going to win the championship next, but like, where does Orange Cassidy and Pac go? They both look good in the end of the match.
Orange Cassidy, I've heard some people say Orange Cassidy needs to get up out of the title scene, and I agree with them. I like Orange Cassidy a lot, but anytime he's in a title, he's lost so many title fights now, he's not credible. Like the same Orange Cassidy last year who was facing Chris Jericho, who was proved to be legitimate after he beat Chris Jericho, is not the same Orange Cassidy who lost a few nights ago in Daily's.
But I'll disagree with that completely. Maybe that's because you didn't watch the show and watch the match. But Orange Cassidy looked just as good as everybody else in that match. And the way he got pinned was essentially a roll up. Like, he got pinned at the last second. He didn't take a finisher and just get pinned clean like Daniel Bryan and Edge at WrestleMania, right?
But he hasn't won a championship match. Anytime he's in a championship,
I agree.
Looking at it as not credible.
So what do you see next? What do you see next for him, though? What do you see next for him?
I don't know. Orange Cassidy's just a random dude. He'll just float around AEW doing the most random shit possible because that's his character, Orange Cassidy. And he's over because of it. Hey, look, I've got egg on my face anyway. I looked Orange Cassidy in the face a few years ago when we were in Chicago at an independent wrestling show and told him to his face, hey, man, I'm not sure you're going to make it on TNT. I'm not sure you're going to make it in TNT because I don't know if people are going to get your character. I looked him dead eye in the face. It was very serious and told him that. Granted, I was drunk, but still, I told him that. And guess what? He said, you know what? TNT, I don't even know what the fuck that is, bro. What is that? And guess what? He went on, and when he said that to me, I was like, this guy's going to make it. And he's one of the biggest things about AEW. Yeah. But the fact of the matter remains is this. He has not won a championship in AEW. And every time he's in a championship fight, he loses. Now, granted, you saying he loses in a credible way. I can also argue he lost in a way that made him look kind of like a jackass. Why? Because he lost on a simple roll-up to Kenny Omega.
It was a quick roll-up. But nonetheless, I mean, I agree with you. He has lost his two biggest matches for titles, right? But I think it's tough to talk to him winning the title off Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is arguably top 2 professional wrestler right now in the world, right? So Orange Cassidy ain't beating that guy, right? Orange Cassidy might be able to beat Hangman Page, might be able to beat Cody Rhodes, might be able to beat Chris Jericho, right? So I think that Orange Cassidy just needs that, you know, that different type of wrestler to beat, right? He shouldn't be trying to be Kenny Omega. He should be trying to be Pac or somebody else, right? I think that's just where you see it with him, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I guess so. And you mentioned Pac too as well. What's next for Pac? I think. I'm not sure. I mean, Pac. If you look at his situation, it's been kind of redundant. He can go against Hangman Page, but hasn't he had something with Hangman Page? The Kenny Omega thing, we've already seen that multiple times. Getting AEW, I think. Done with that. I'm not sure where these other two guys go. And to be quite frank with you, I'm not sure where freaking Kenny Omega goes. I mean, do we jump right into this thing?
Jungle Boy.
We jump right into with Jungle Boy, right?
Yeah, I think he needs to do the program with Jungle Boy next because Jungle Boy won the Casino Battle Royal. So you have to give him the next title shot next. And then it leads to something with Hangman Page or a bigger superstar, maybe from a different company. At All Out, because All Out is their second biggest pay-per-view of the year, maybe their biggest in a lot of terms. Yeah, number 1, exactly. I agree with that too. So I think that's what it is. You got to do the thing with Jungle Boy. You got to make Jungle Boy look credible, but he shouldn't win the title, and Kenny Omega should have a big match and possibly lose the title at All Out. He lose the title forever? Maybe not. Maybe I think Kenny Omega should have a title again before the end of 2020, or 2021. But should it be Jungle Boy? No, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be. We all know that. But the fact of the matter is you know, AEW, they're an interesting situation. And somebody said this on Twitter, 94 days is All Out. What do WWE wrestlers have?
90 days, yeah.
90 days. So that
90 days.
Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows? It's very interesting. I thought we were going to have like a little off period until July, August, and some of that, like after the NBA finals. But now it's a situation where we're talking about this thing in June. So it's very interesting.
Absolutely. Real quick, what do you see how do you see the Inner Circle Pinnacle thing ending? Because obviously the Inner Circle winning, it's now 1-1. How do you see that rivalry ending?
Some people are speculating that Chris Jericho may be going away for a while. It feels like maybe he needs to go away for a little bit anyway. I feel like his character is just kind of getting, I wouldn't say stale, but maybe it's just there. Maybe it just needs a retool. Chris Jericho, one of the reasons why he's been able to stay so long in professional wrestling is because he's always been able to take multiple breaks and just retool. But if you look at the way Chris Jericho has been wrestling lately, this is one of his longest times without taking a break he's ever.
For sure. No, yeah.
I'm saying a very long time. So it's a situation where maybe he does need to take a break. I can see if he's taking a break, Sammy Guevara stepping up and being the leader of the Inner Circle until Chris Jericho gets there. I can definitely see it. Him going up against MJF. But I think the rubber match is actually going to be a singles match between MJF and Chris Jericho at All Out, and MJF will get his win eventually. And I think we're just on a slow build. MJF becoming the AEW World Champion. It's not, but they're being very smart with how they run it with MJF because they know they have some time left to be, to build this guy up. But I think eventually we will get Chris Jericho and MJF one-on-one match at All Out.
I agree. I thought that should be the ending anyways, even before this whole Stadium Stampede thing too. So I agree with that. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see MJF become the guy. I mean, I want to see MJF eventually become champion too. The guy is the best heel in the business, and as much of an asshole as he is in real life, right? The guy is the best heel, so you gotta get him the title, right? All right, let's move on to speaking of assholes. Two of them, Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather Jr. are boxing this Sunday. RKJ Man. What are your thoughts on this to end this podcast? This is a YouTuber that has won 2 boxing matches against another YouTuber, and the last one he lost. All of it was based on points. And you have Floyd Mayweather, who's 50-0. What the fuck is going to happen this Sunday?
First of all, is this an exhibition or is this a real match?
Exhibition. So just in case Floyd gets knocked out, it doesn't count against his record, but it will count in everybody's hearts.
Floyd ain't going to get knocked out. And Floyd's not known for knockout punches, but if there's any time Floyd's going to knock a motherfucker out, it's this one. Okay? We about to see a killing on live television, y'all. I'm going to urge you right now, if you buy this, you're wasting money.
I agree.
I'm just letting you know you're wasting money. This ain't Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, where at least Conor McGregor has that professional MMA, UFC background to make it look legitimate. And him and Floyd Mayweather were having some bangers in promoting that thing. Some bangers. I still watch them to this day. It still gets me hyped. But it's a situation now where maybe it's because of the pandemic, but this fight, this boxing match has not gotten a lot of publicity as a lot of other Floyd Money Mayweather matches. And maybe it is because of the pandemic, but still, Floyd Mayweather is facing this Paul guy. I can't tell the difference between Jake and Logan, honestly. If you ask me to stand them beside each other, I don't really know why they're famous. I guess they're YouTubers. I guess we should look up to them, but I don't really care. And the fact of the matter is this, it's a complete waste of our time, and I won't be paying money for that shit.
No, I will not. I'm going to find a bar that I can pay like a $10 cover for, to be honest.
Bars are open down there?
Yeah. What are you talking about, bro? You know that. Why do you act like you don't know that?
Oh, yeah.
You're open down too. Yeah. What are you fooling the audience for, bro?
Oh, he's got to go fishing.
Stag Sunday, come. So
gotta work an 18-hour shift, bro.
God damn it. No, so here's the thing. Yeah, I agree. Floyd's gonna fucking win. Okay, this is ridiculous. This isn't Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. This isn't Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson. This is a YouTuber versus the best boxer ever, potentially, right? The best defensive boxer. Yes, Logan Paul is 200 pounds and he's taller than Floyd and he has that advantage. The problem is he probably doesn't have the punching power. And Floyd's just going to defend. And Floyd knows how to box better than maybe anybody because he's perfected that style of defensive boxing. Will also be able to get enough shots to win, right? Is it boring at times? Yes. But he's 50-0. He's never lost, right? If he had lost, there's that one thing where you go, oh, yeah, the boring style didn't work. But the fact that he is 50-0, there's just no way he's losing to a YouTuber. There's no way. And we'll talk about this more, RKJ, in our UFC 263 preview next week where we have the actual result. So we're not going to go too much into it on this one, but I just don't see it, man. I don't see it anyway. I see Floyd knocking him out before the end of the fight, too.
Yeah, I mean, before the end of the fight, I see Floyd knocking him out before the end of the first round.
That's not going to happen. That's the worst prediction you could make.
Well, why is that the worst prediction?
Because there's got to be a level of entertainment to it. Floyd's gonna let him
scripted like wrestling. Oh, you're telling me this is scripted like wrestling, then?
Well, look what Floyd did to Conor. He let Conor gas out, but Conor actually hit him, and it was a semi-entertaining fight. Logan Paul will do the same thing. He'll probably, clip Floyd here and there, and then Floyd will just demolish him in like the 4th or 5th round. That's what's gonna happen.
Well, we'll see. But honestly, I'm just hoping Floyd knocks that dude out. Like these Paul brothers, they're just being ridiculous, getting into something, and they're just making a shit ton of money. But hey, guess what? A lot of these fighters are upset at them, but really they should be upset at themselves. These Paul brothers are proving you can make a lot of money without having a promoter. You just got to be smart about it.
I agree. I agree. And they're actually trained and they work hard. And it's not, I don't have a problem with them boxing. It's that once you go down these paths of, like, Logan Paul's kind of an idiot for this. Like, you could have done like your brother and boxed like Damian Maia, a professional jiu-jitsu fighter. Like, you could have, you could have done that. But instead, Jake's now going to fight Tyron Woodley next. And that's not easy. Tyron Woodley shook, God, I cannot remember the name. Vincente, who's a fucking knockout artist. He shook him in their last fight. I can't wait for both. I mean, I think this is all going to be over within the next, but at the end of 2021, and they'll go back to, doing the stuff that the New York Times said they did to women. But they'll stay their YouTube careers and they'll do. Hey, see, I went around it. Just look it up. Look up New York Times, Jake Paul. Just look it up. But it will all be over, and this is the first step, and the next step will be Jake losing to Tyron. That's it. This was a dumb move by both guys, but it's a necessary move. Logan will make the most money of his life. He won't have to do anything ever again. Jake will make the most money of his life. He won't ever have to do anything again. And good for them. Good for them figuring it out. But if you have CTE and all that shit from getting knocked out, blame yourself. You didn't have to do that. You could have made money on YouTube. But whatever. Floyd's gonna win. Floyd in the sixth round. That's where I'll go. What do you go? What do you got?
I'm going Floyd in the first. I'm making the bold prediction. Blackstradamus is going Floyd in the first round. He's going Floyd in the first.
Terrible prediction. But yeah, so we'll hey guys, we're gonna go on to our next podcast next week. We'll be talking about UFC 263. We'll be talking about the Floyd Logan Paul aftermath. If WWE decides to release it, Nick Khan decides to release anybody else, we'll talk about that too. But the end of this podcast, RKJ Man ended the way it should.
Hey man, really quickly, like, comment, and subscribe. But as always, raise a glass in the sky and salute the ring generals.